Hello everyone, my name is Dave Partner. Welcome to your 14th Nodejs tutorial. In this tutorial, we'll be treating something called web servers, and from this tutorial, a lot of the things we've done in the other past tutorials will start connecting and start making sense. If you've made it to this point, man, you are really strong. Okay, so what we will see now is a web server. A web server is a software application that handles HTTP requests sent by the client. So you have let's say a mobile phone here, and then you have a laptop here. Your laptop does some nice stuff, and then you want to visit a website. So you already have the URL of the site you want to visit. You just type it in your browser and you hit enter. Once you hit enter, your laptop makes a request to a machine remotely somewhere in some country or whatever where the files are hosted. Inside this machine you have the files, different files, maybe index.php, about.html, different files for the website you're trying to visit. It also has a database. Alright, so where it gets the information. So you have these two guys there. What happens is your laptop makes a request to something called a server. This server receives the request and decides what to show. So it goes here, fetches the particular file, returns it, and then what you eventually see on your laptop is the file you requested. Okay, then it also gets from the database too. So that's it for your the way it works. The same thing with your mobile phone and backward. So that's how the web server works. Okay, so we are going to see how to create a web server with Node.js, and we'll create the first part, and you'll just see how it works. Then in the subsequent tutorials, in the next tutorial, we'll create other ones. So what we'll do is go to our anything folder, create one that's called server.js. We'll delete whatever we already have here. This is when we were still learning Node.js from the beginning, you remember? So I'm going to delete it and start again. So to start again, we first of all require some files that we need, and the first file is the HTTP. Remember, a server is a software that serves, that handles HTTP requests. So we have the next one is file system. Remember I told you it will return files. It returns files like HTML, CSS, your images, you know. So we use the file module that comes with Node.js. Then we have one more. It has to be able to handle URL requests. Okay, URL is the request address, all of the address. Okay, so we have this guy now. So we have to create the server. To create the server, we have this function create server that comes with Node.js, and we'll create the function. The function takes in two parameters. The first one is request and the second one is response. Okay, so we have request, response. Okay, so then this server, we have to listen to something called the port. We have to, so that we know when this server is being talked to from a browser. Let's just choose a port. I'll choose 8081. You can choose any port. So we have this guy. So we are back to this guy here. Make sure you don't make mistake in the typing of this code. We have this open bracket, we have this open, we have this closed, then we have this. Okay, don't make any mistake. So the first thing we'll do is declare a variable for the path name. We'll have to retrieve the path name of the URL or that is being requested, the file that is being requested. We have to know the path name of the URL requested. So we have request, then get the URL. So this request, this is what we have here. So when the request is passed in, get the URL of the request, and then after getting the URL, get the path name for us. So we save it inside a variable called path. Then the next thing we do is let's just print out something just to be sure that we have done something so far. So we can say console.log, and say a request for the path name received. Okay, so this just basically says that, hey, we have received the request for this particular file, and the next thing we have to do is to use our file module, file input output module, to find the file and read it, you understand, and get the contents and print. So we have read file, then we have the path name. Take the path name, substring, and we have function. We have the function takes a callback two parameters. One is the error, and one is the data itself. Remember, we treated this in the past. This should be familiar to you by now. So we have so if first of all, if we have an error, what do you do? How do we handle the error? So just print the error to us on the screen. Let's see the error we have. Then also tell us, let the server know that there's a problem. We have response. Let us know that there's a problem. The right head. Right head. This tells us that there is a problem. The problem is 404. That is, the file was not found. So how do we print the error? We say it has to be the content type has to be text HTML. Oops. Text HTML. Okay. So the next thing we will be looking at is assuming there is no error, else, which means there is no error. This is what you will have to do. Tell us the response. Right head. I'll just copy this guy. I'm lazy. I don't want to type. Lazy. And it's not 404. It's 200. 200 means okay. Yeah, we got a nice stuff. So we found the file and we are printing it. That's what we have to do here. Then we get converted to string and print it to the body of the response. So we have response.write data, get the whole data from the file and convert it to string, and after converting it to string, that's it. So the next thing you will do is response.end. We've got what we want. Then the next thing is we listen. So we keep listening for this file. All right. So finally we can just say console.log your server is now running at localhost. Localhost 8081. Alright, so that once we use Node.js to access this file, we'll have this just to be sure that our server is running even before we get a response. So this guy starts listening for a response, a request. So once a request comes in, it processes the request and finds the file, copies the data inside the file, and prints it out as the response to the web page there. Alright, so the next thing we have to create quickly is an index file. Let's just create a file we call index.html. The index.html. Okay, so yes, I'll save it, index.html. So I'll right click, open with my editor, whatever editor you're using. So inside this index.html, we are going to create the basic stuff. So I'll just copy and paste. Let's create a basic HTML file structure, which is HTML. I don't want to copy and paste again. HTML. Then inside that HTML, basic HTML file structure. I'm assuming you already know this. You have your basic head. Then you have your basic body. Inside that basic body. Alright, so this pretty much settles HTML, but then we could do something like title. In the title we can say default first hello world, or whatever you want to type. Then inside here we can say thanks for coming this far in this tutorial, please donate. Okay, so we have something like this. This is a basic HTML tutorial. Okay, now we will go to our code, our command prompt, and run this server. Once this server runs well, we'll make a request for this page. This server will come here and fetch the content of this page and serve it in response, convert it to text, to string, and print it. So that's what will just happen. Okay, let's see. Quickly we pull up our node command prompt, and quickly we cd and into anything, then we node server.js. Our server is now running at localhost 8081, so we will just have to open any browser and check this guy out. Okay, so I'll open a browser, Mozilla, and that quickly opens that. So we have localhost 8081. Alright, that's just a basic error. So our server, this is our server, and nothing is happening, but let's make a request for index.html. So this is a request. We hit enter. What do you have? Thanks for coming this far. This is a basic Firefox error, don't mind it. Okay, so we have thanks for coming this far in this tutorial, please donate, and whatever. So we requested for /index.html. It served this HTML file to it and printed it out here. Okay, so this is how the server retrieves a web page and then finds it and serves it to the client. Okay, in the next tutorial we'll see one more thing on this before we move to the most powerful part and the most interesting part. Okay, so thank you for watching this video tutorial, and see you in the next video.